What is up guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Dr. Ahmed and today is my review here of the OPPO Find X9, a phone that I've been using for a couple of weeks already, and in my recent trip to Japan I've been using it as my daily driver as well, and I do have a lot that I do want to share with you guys after using this phone for that amount of time. So yes, and I'd like to break it down into four main segments over here just to give you guys a more comprehensive overview of how this phone has been for me over that period of time. So yes, without further ado, let's just get right into it. So before we go any further, let's talk about the price of the Find X9. So here in Malaysia, it does go for about 36.99 ringgit, which does place it at about the $800 to $850 mark. Still in the flagship territory here as well. So we're going to look at it from a flagship point of view. So for the first segment that I do want to talk about is of course the holding experience, and that is of course one of the main key features here with the OPPO Find X9. So what they have done here is give you a very similar design and a very familiar design with a particular phone company, and that's of course giving you your squared sides all around, and it does give you a little bit of some sharp edges on the sides here as well. For me, to be honest, I really like it because it does give you a good sense of grip when you're holding this phone for a long period of time. When it comes to the camera bumps here as well, it isn't too thick, giving you that kind of imbalance when you're placing it on your table or whatever. It's still very nice and subtle, and definitely makes it very easy to clean your lenses, especially because all the lenses here are just flat on the back, so it's definitely easy to just wipe it off in case there's any dirt that does go to the camera side of things over here. When it comes to the button placement, it's really nice to be able to reach to the power button and also the volume rockers here, because in terms of the size, it isn't the hugest by 2025 standard, but it still gives you a good chunk of your screen ratio over here and across the overall size on this, and it just gives you good reachability here as well. And when it comes to the ultrasonic scanner, it's very easy to reach down the center here, not too far down to give you that kind of finger gymnastics to make you kind of stretch all the way down, but it of course makes it very comfortable to go and reach for the ultrasonic scanner. One thing you'll notice with the OPPO Find X9 series here is of course the dedicated side key button here as well, which you can customize, again very similar to a particular phone model. You can customize this button to give you certain actions. For me, to be honest, I just use it as my kind of torch right here, because a lot of times I don't have to go to the swipe down to access the features here, to go to your camera and go to your torch or so what I was saying. So it's easier just to press and hold, and you can see it just gets the job done. You can just press and hold again and it will turn it off. Very useful feature, to be honest, because it's a dedicated key. Who's going to complain about that? And of course, it does give you an overall nice weight to it as well. Not too heavy, not too light, and it has a very nice clean finish over here, giving you that kind of premium feel when you're using the Find X9. The color, I would say, is not the most exciting, but of course when it comes to the so-called flagship level, most of the time they'll play it safe. They give you a very nice clean finish, and I do like the camera layout over here. It's very nice and minimalistic, and very similar to the previous phone models here as well, and it follows with the X9 Pro. So very nice uniformity here over here, and I really do like it. And when it comes to the holding experience on this, I will give it a solid 8 out of 10. Okay, and of course going on to the next segment, and that is of course the viewing experience. So I'm basically cover the display, speakers, and also the haptics with this phone. And one thing you'll notice that yes, in terms of display, it's not your 6.7 inch or your 6.8, but it still gives you a very good 6.59 inch display over here, with of course plenty of brightness, plenty of colors, plenty of your PWM to give you less eye fatigue when you're watching your content over here, just looking at this phone for long periods of time. Definitely that one here helps. With that extra brightness here, it definitely helps again a lot when I was traveling around, you switching in between my Google Maps or going through my social media, checking my emails on the go under sunny condition. That extra brightness here definitely helps a lot, because it does give you a lot more clarity, a lot more visibility when you're going through all those apps like I mentioned. So definitely here helps a lot. Again, one of the major thing I do like when it comes to OPPO phones is of course that Aqua Touch technology. So in case even if your hands are wet or dirty or greasy, you still don't have to worry about just navigating through your phone, because it's able still to detect your touches and where you want to go with this. So definitely here. It feels really nice. And when it comes to the speakers, again, this is where it gets a bit tricky because the speakers at the so-called appropriate volumes do sound really nice at about maybe the 70% mark when you're just toggling the rocker over here when it comes to the volume panel. So it definitely gives you very good volume in terms of clarity, in terms of loudness, but I don't really like it when it is at about the 20 to 30% because you basically can't hear a lot, but suddenly at about the 50% there's a sudden jump when it comes to the speakers here, which I find it a bit kind of annoying because sometimes you just want that gradual increase instead of a sudden jump. But other than that, if you're going to play it at about the 60 to 80% volume, it sounds really good, very nice. And also when it comes to haptics here as well, when it came to gaming or when it came to my navigation gestures over here, it felt really nice and well made. You have your nice subtle gestures and it does give you strong vibrations as well when you need it, especially when you're playing your games here as well. So overall, when it comes to the viewing experience on this, I would give it a solid 9 out of 10. Alright, and of course going on to the third segment, and that is of course the user experience with the OPPO Find X9. And what I can say is that it feels really good. That's what she said. So what I mean by that is that when you're traveling or when you're just moving around a lot, you definitely need a phone that's fast. You need a phone that holds up your apps really well. And of course, you want a phone that's really smooth. And that's what you're gonna get here with the Find X9. So yes, when you're going through like maybe your Google Maps like I was, and you want to check out your messages, and you also want to go through your Facebook or your TikTok or your Instagram to check out some reviews on like places or food places that you want to go. So you're just constantly on the go traveling, and also you just want to just switch in between your apps and you don't want refreshes a lot. And that's what you're gonna get here with the Find X9 because it performs everything over here, like I mentioned, really well. Of course, there are some instances where it does kind of refresh, so there is maybe some software tweak which they can do, but I would say overall the RAM management here is really nice. You have 16 gigs of RAM. When it comes to the performances here, you don't really get a lot of heating issues, you don't get really a lot of lag, so it performs really nice with the MediaTek Dimensity chip here, 9500. So you don't really have to worry that although it's not a Snapdragon processor, it still performs so good that you don't really notice the major differences over here. When it came to gaming, to be honest, I don't play a lot of heavy gaming, so for me, to be honest, it performs also really well. Of course, if you guys want a more extensive gaming kind of review here with the Find X9, let me know in the comment section down below. But one of the main key features here that I do want to talk about when it comes to the Find X9, first of all, is of course the battery performance on this. And what I like about this, of course, it does give you a full day of usage over here. So as I was using it as my daily driver, it easily gives me at least 8 hours of screen on time over here, and that is of course in the balance mode here as well. And this definitely gives you a full day of usage, and that is of course me using it for a lot of extensive kind of apps over here, like your Google Maps, your messaging apps. You want to use it for watching videos here as well. So getting at least about 8 hours of battery here is really nice. You don't really have to worry about it. And of course, if you do want to charge it up, you can use the SuperVOOC charger. We all know about it. It charges up really fast. And also it does have your wireless charging here as well to give you extra convenience. And of course, when it came to just using this phone on the go, it was really kind of helpful because you don't always have to constantly look at the battery level when you're just going about your day over here. And of course, when I mentioned about the balance mode, there is also an ultra power saving mode, which I really did enjoy on the OPPO Find X9 here. Because sometimes when you're using this phone and you're very far away from a charger, or if you're like me, I went out one whole day without bringing my power bank and was a little bit worried, but at about maybe the 15% mark, I just decided to turn on the ultra power saving mode, and definitely that one here helped me a lot because it helped me to preserve my battery for another maybe 2 to 3 more hours when I reached back to my hotel. At about, I got about maybe 5 or 7% battery left, and that was still me using my important apps, like I mentioned, Google Maps, using my cameras here as well, and also going through my messaging app. So it does give you the so-called nice key essential app users with no kind of cuts around, but it also does give you extra help when it comes to battery management over here, which I think would be really helpful for you guys which you are going to travel a lot, you're going to do your work around a lot, and you don't really have your power banks with you with this phone. When it comes to charging, we know about this supervolt charger, but what I don't really like about this is the fact that you don't really have that PD charging support. Yes, you can use your PD cables on this, but it doesn't charge as fast as it would with the supervolt chargers, and I do see it with other phone companies where it charges up still, I would say, equally as fast as their own proprietary chargers. So hopefully in the future they will kind of give them a little bit more of the charging support when it comes to their OPPO phones. So overall, when it comes to just the overall user experience on this, I will give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. Okay, and of course, going on to the last segment over here, and we're going to talk about the camera experience with the OPPO Find X9. And this is where I think this phone here really impressed me here as well, because I find that the cameras here was very consistent, but I felt they was playing a little bit too safe with the shots that came out. So what it does really well is that it gives you very good consistent images. So when you're taking shots with the 1.5 or 0.5 or the zoom lenses here, it gives you very good sharp images. Again, when it comes to bright lighting conditions, you don't have to worry about it because the photos come here really nice with a good amount of details, very nice colors, I would say. But I did wish that they could have actually just given us a little bit more of that dramatic feel when you're taking shots, to give you a little bit more of that color tweak to make it stand out from the competitors over here. Because by the flagship standards, I would say that this here is at about the B+ going on to the A- grade, because it does give you still very good. And to be honest, if you're not busy like me comparing images from left and right and here and there, to be honest, you'll be very impressed with the shots here. Like I mentioned, I was using this phone as my daily driver when I was in Japan, when I was moving between Tokyo at night, and we all know that the night scene here is amazing, and daylight here as well. There's just a lot to capture, and whenever I was using this phone, to be honest, it was just really nice to just go around, take shots with your 1x, and if you want to have the wider field of view, you can use the 0.6 field here as well. It gives you a good amount of details. There is of course some distortion on sites, which I think they could just tweak it with some AI rendering over here. But other than that, it does look really well. When you go up to the 3x here zoom as well, and the 10x or whatsoever, it still gives you and delivers very good images, which I really do appreciate, because when you're traveling or when you're just moving about, you don't want to just walk unnecessary, right? You don't want to give you the extra 1,000 steps to get to the place you want to be. So you can use the zoom lenses here, which is something I did find myself using a lot when I was using the Find X9, because a lot of times, yes, images come out really nice on 1x, but I just want to push it a little bit more here when it comes to telephoto to give you that extra kind of details here. And that's what you can get with the Find X9. So it does give you still a good amount of details, very good color reproduction, which I really do like. And I think this is very similar to what Hasselblad has been doing with their phones here, giving you that kind of natural feel with their image processing here. So you don't have to worry about just getting your natural shot or what you're seeing with your eyes and what you're capturing on your phone, where there's a lot of difference. I think that's one thing that they're kind of just pushing forward here, to give you that kind of natural vibe to their images, which I really do like. But I also do appreciate a little bit more of that dramatic feel when it comes to taking shots, especially when you have like different colors playing around here. You just want a little bit more dramatic feel with it. And when it comes to night mode here as well, when I was taking a lot of night shots, it does perform again consistently as well when you're taking it into your daylight. I didn't find myself constantly switching it into the night mode, because sometimes you just want that extra kind of few seconds to capture a little bit more details with the lighting here. I can just turn on my normal photo mode, the normal auto mode here, to just take nice shots, and to be honest, the photos come out really nice. Does come out with nice punchy colors here, good amount of lighting details, which is something that a lot of phone companies struggle when it comes to night mode, but not with the Find X9 here. It comes out really nice, especially when you're just zooming in. Again, like your daylight shots, it still gives you a very good amount of details. As you can see from my photos that I'm just showing with you guys consistently over here, it does come out really nice. And to be honest, I couldn't sometimes distinguish between what I was taking at 1x and even at 10x, because it does come out really nice when it comes to the images over here. So overall, when it comes to just the camera experience on this, I would give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. Alright guys, so that is my final review here of the OPPO Find X9, and for this I'm going to give it an overall rating of 8.5 out of 10. Of course, these are just my thoughts and my opinions. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this phone right here, the Find X9, the younger brother to the X9 Pro. Of course, if you guys have any questions, leave it in the comment section down below and I'll try my best to answer them. And of course, if you guys enjoyed this video, do click the like and smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.